Well, a lot of people are being affected right now by the government shutdown, and it brings up the question, what happens if you get furloughed? How does that impact your home buying process? Should you apply for a mortgage in that position? Is there some leeway? Well, we're going to dive into it with Bill Litton at Cross Country Mortgage and help you truly understand what your best path forward is. Welcome in. This is the Smart Mortgage Show. Great to have you on here with us. Maybe not the best topic, Bill, as we're talking about being furloughed. Obviously, this kind of being piggybacked off of a lot of the news right now, the government shutdown. Maybe when this video comes out, the shutdown is over. Hopefully, when this video comes out, the shutdown's over. But important to kind of talk through this because this is, I'm sure, a source of anxiety for a lot of people.
It is. And, I think there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding the subject. We've been in a government shutdown for this might even be the longest period we've ever had, if not the second longest. So, a lot of people that have those government jobs, if they're in the home buying process, it could create problems.
Yeah, it can. And again, right, that's what we want to avoid. And, obviously, as we go through this, remember, you can always reach out to Cross Country Mortgage. Bill will sit down, discuss, frankly and directly what your options are and try to take everything into account to give you the best guidance moving forward, right? No matter what your situation is, whether you're furloughed or there's something else that you're dealing with, any of that can be done through Cross Country Mortgage. So again, get in touch if you have any questions. So what I want to talk about, Bill, is just with this government shutdown, is this a time to maybe pause your home buying process and your house hunting, whatever you're doing right now? What do we need to know if we're in this position?
Well, I think that as far as Fannie Mae is concerned, they don't actually consider it a furlough or temporary leave. Instead, they consider it mandatory leave as initiated by the employer. So this interruption, in these cases, if you're getting income from unemployment, you would need to actually receive that unemployment income to qualify for 2 years, which is never going to happen, right? So I think you see a lot of people that are in a really tough situation. If there's an uncertain date that they can start back at their job, that we can't get a verification of employment, it could delay your settlement indefinitely. Now, the good news is these shutdowns, historically only last so long. So if you look at the amount of people that are, have their division of the government shut down and how many of them are closing at this precise time, hopefully it's not a huge subset of people, but for those individuals, it is a very trying time.
Yeah, it is a very trying time indeed. And I think a lot of times, people can kind of see these coming, I guess. I mean, they're not completely out of left field, but I mean, what if you had started your process, Bill, months ago? And we always encourage, and you talk about this, if you are thinking about buying a home, it's always beneficial to get started early just to help put you in the best position, make any financial changes personally to maybe help improve your position or your rate or whatever the terms are of your mortgage. So let's say you started working on this maybe at the beginning of the year. Here we are in November, and this is happening. What happens if you've kind of got pretty far in the process and you're near the finish line when this happens? I mean, I know you talk about running the numbers all the time and you're always checking on employment, that sort of thing, always up until closing. What happens if you are a couple of days from closing when this happens?
So to your point, Ben, which is really important, is, we're seeing this telegraphed out ahead of time so we can prepare for it. And, the good thing about mortgages is there's always more than one way to skin a cat, or not always, there usually is more than one way. So you can prepare for it. You could pull in a cosigner and see if, even though that cosigning situation wasn't something that you wanted to, get involved in, and sometimes those conversations can be tough with family or friends, but it might be your only option and you could prepare for that. The other thing too is maybe the spouse has enough income where they qualify, or we remove the spouse that's, working for the government that has now been furloughed, And that person, maybe they have all the debt in their name, and we can now do the loan in just the other spouse's name. So if we look hard enough at a scenario, usually there's another outcome. And to your point, we should be looking at those far ahead of the actual shutdown if we know it's coming.
Yeah, for sure. And look, I know this is kind of why we always talk about, hey, sit down with the mortgage lender, right? Having a good mortgage lender on your side can not only tell you your options, but kind of help ease your mind through this process, because as stressful as it is, Bill. I mean, this is going to be the largest purchase you're probably going to make in your lifetime, and for most people, and you're not going through it a lot, so it's new, and you don't totally know what to expect. So again, it's kind of where leaning on a good mortgage lender will really kind of help to benefit you.
Yeah, I think it just the planning and the thought and the detail. There are lenders out there that, we know it's more of a loan factory. There's no personal touch. The quality's low. In those instances, I would be concerned because they may not care if your loan closes. There might not be enough on the line for them. The reputation doesn't matter. They might not want to go through and restructure the loan and figure it out. So really important is, when you're coming up to any situation like this, you want to talk to a lender and gauge how invested they are in your home purchase, because the right lender will get you through it, and the wrong lender, unfortunately, you won't get through it.
Yeah, definitely. So get in touch. You can always do so. All the contact info is in the show description. And I know this is a tough time for people, Bill, and any kind of final thoughts maybe for this situation. Hopefully, again, the shutdown, even if the shutdown is ended by the time we do this video and it comes out, there's still a good chance another government shutdown is going to happen, right? I mean, it seems like they happen every handful of years. So just to kind of know moving forward, kind of what position to be in. But any kind of final thoughts or anything else you think is relevant for this discussion?
Well, I think the good news is that this type of a break in employment, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, they know the circumstances is just highly unlikely to happen again anytime soon. And with that in mind, they're not going to put a ton of weight on this interruption, knowing that there's a really good chance you're going back to work, and B, when you do, it's probably not going to happen again. As long as you've had a good work history before it, you should be fine. It's really just if you get caught at that perfect storm moment, that's going to be the hard part to get through. Otherwise, this is kind of predictable, and Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all the main underwriting resources, they're going to try and do what they can to limit the pain.
All right. Great stuff. Well, if you're in this position, hopefully you're going to have some peace of mind, whether it be from this video or just other guidance that you're getting from people. But hopefully you'll get through this and, again, come out better on the other side. But hopefully this information is beneficial to you. If it is, please subscribe to the channel as well. Everything we do here is about educating people on the home buying process, on the mortgage lending process, to just give you the best spot moving forward as you look for that new home. But appreciate your time as always, Bill. Look forward to talking to you again in a week.
Thanks so much.
This program is for informational purposes only. Please consult a qualified professional before taking any action. Bill Litton is a loan advisor and regional president with Cross Country Mortgage, NMLS number 147060.